It's been a little while since we've done a podcast.
It has.
We've been busy.
Very busy. Had a few things going on. Christmas, kids going to school.
Yep.
It's been busy. A lot of work change.
But the videos that we have done the rounds again because we've had heaps of people.
Yeah, message us, pull us up in the street.
Yeah, at work I've had a few people comment that they've watched the videos, and yeah, I think it was the push that we needed to get back into it and get stuck into it again. Hey,
I think obviously, and driving our kids back to school and to other parent, listen to podcasts and that too. Just I suppose makes us want to dive into ours and keep going.
Listening to the podcast that we have been listening to certainly made me feel more comfortable with doing it again.
Yeah. But no, it's been good. It's been a good experience, good feedback, and just got to keep the ball rolling.
We spent so much time in the car.
Yeah, we've been
listening to podcasts, so that's been helpful.
I think today's topic is going to be pretty relevant to what some of the busyness that we've been going through. Parenthood, I suppose.
Yep.
We
more specifically fatherhood, then.
Yeah, more specifically fatherhood. Yeah, and obviously, with the addition that we have on the way of two identical girls, it's going to be they're very good, and it's a good topic to sort of lean into again and cover.
Yep. That's taken up a fair bit of our time, finding out that we're having twins and
Going to be surrounded by girls.
Outnumbered.
Me and Eli, it's going to have to spot down the mouth card and go at it. Or we can just buy a boat, one or the other.
We're going to need it after today. We've had something like 200 mils of rain in the last couple of days. If
you can't hear us properly, it's pissing down outside. So,
pelting down.
Pelting. So, yeah.
All right, so my first question to get this on the road is how, the person that you are now, how do you define a good father?
Right now, a good father in my eyes is someone who's present, someone who supports his family and his children, someone who shows his children what they should be when they grow up, especially as a father. Like, men and boys, young boys, they're going to copy what their father does. And that's something I've only sort of learnt the last year and a bit, is that everything I do has an effect on my son. And that's something I've taken in. But someone who's present, someone who supports their children, not just financially, but emotionally. Support is more than just financial. It's giving your child or stepchildren or whatever time, making them feel like where they are is safe and you're a safe space for them.
I think you're also, as a father, setting a standard for the type of person that your daughters are going to marry or who they're going to raise their kids with. So
that's right. I think as a dad, I have raised step girls before, and there's a very, very different parenting. So having mine and son will be very different, but it's going to be very good.
So how is raising girls different to raising boys?
From my past experience, like raising girls, you have to be tone it down a little bit more. Tone it down as in boys, you can be a little bit more direct, so to speak. But with girls,
bit more of a gentler approach.
Yeah, it's more of a gentle approach, and I think having girls too makes you a little bit more softer as a man, as I say, a girl dad. But boys are a bit more rugged and very adaptable. Girls sort of a bit like mum, they're a bit more.
What do you mean that girls make you softer? Like, I totally agree with you. I think every man should have a daughter, I think.
Yeah.
It does bring out another element of who you are, but what do you mean by?
I think especially as in for mothers, or partners. I think when we have a girl like I said, I've only had stepdaughters. It makes us a little bit more softer to how we are in the relationship, as in makes you a little bit more, this is someone's daughter. And I think you do realize it, but you don't realize it to the extent until you have a
Yeah,
daughter.
you're thinking more consciously about like how you would want another man
Yeah,
to treat
yeah.
her. Yeah.
And just referring back to what I said too, is that when you have, daughters and that, like I said, your approach is a lot different. It's not the same as what you would with a boy. So, yeah, it is a little bit different. So,
Do you think your definition of what a good father is now is different to what it was before you had kids of your own?
for kids of my own, like back to my first podcast, like I thought a father was a very, very different, like very different to what I know now, sort of thing. Just from what had happened. If you want to reference back to that, go back and watch an earlier podcast, and I talk about it.
I think it was the second podcast that we...
Second one, yeah. You'll understand what I mean by what happened, but you know, I always, as I got older, I sort of started to work out what about being a dad and father. My mum met my stepfather, who's, I think I've touched on this as well. Yeah, he's the best man. Yeah, if I could be as half as good as him, then I'll be doing well. He raised all of us kids, and he looked after my mum. He still does look after my mum. I looked at my parents' relationship. My mum is a very much, I've spoken about this as well. She's very stern, direct, and my dad is, he's a bit more softer, and I think they're yin and yang, but they go together. You know, but my understanding of what a father was changed obviously when my mum met my father, well, my stepfather, but he's my father. So yeah, it has always been that since like they met him, my mum met him, but now as I'm getting older and my kids are growing up, it's more sharpening. I had like an understanding broadly of what one was, but now it's just like, different things like topics or, different stages of your kid's life. That,
And I think that constantly evolves.
Yeah, of course, you never stop learning.
As you gain experience. So what you just said now kind of answers my next question, which is, do you have people in your life that have had a big impact on how you see parenting and fatherhood? Obviously, your biological father and your stepfather have had a big impact, but I know that you've spoken to me about other people that have also influenced you positively in ways.
Yeah,
On your definition of what a father is.
yeah. Like, and I'll go back to like my early years. Like I still do have a really good mate, Coppo, if you're watching. I was really close to one of my best friends' dads, and him obviously is my best friend. Still is a very good friend of mine. But he treated me like I was just an extra son. So that seeing his relationship with my really good mate, that was that had a big influence on me. But when I had children myself, I would say my second son's mum had a very big impact on me as a parent. She taught me a lot. Like we didn't work well together, but she taught me a lot as a parent, and I still am very grateful for the things she taught me, and because I look at like we had a son young, like we had a son that was a baby, and she had a kid that was like 8, 11, 14, 15, like and they have all grown, like most of them are grown now. So it was all different stages of what a child's life is. So it was all about learning, and I really thrived in that that really busy environment of having all them kids. But that had a major impact on me. There's been a few people, but that's people that have stood out.
And what do you think your life would look like now if you hadn't had kids of your own?
Oh, yeah. I'm back, going to refer to it again, but if you go back and watch the old podcasts, or listen to them if you can, I was a very, very heavy drug addict, very heavy. I don't think I've gone to the extent of it, and I will later in different podcasts. But doing things that weren't great by people, by myself. So I think ultimately, like most people, if you're a very very heavy drug addict and you're doing things that aren't right, I think everyone can sort of put the two and two together. Like there's only a couple of places you can end up, and even most recently with what's happened in my life, I leaned on my son more than he would ever know, and wasn't me wanting advice from him, talking to him, or it was just having him there. It was a very very dark time, but there's a light in every tunnel, and he was definitely that light. I think most people have that sort of outlook when they get into that situation, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think having children motivates you to be a better person.
Yeah,
I know myself having children has pushed me to reflect on myself and work out how I can be a better person for them.
yeah,
Because you do want to be the best role model for them.
yeah. And I think girls, like with your girls, like girls will naturally sort of gravitate towards being like mum, and boys will naturally sort of gravitate to being like dad. It does change. Like obviously, as throughout their life, it changes. But yeah, I think it's something that everyone needs to take into account.
And like I'm just looking at my iPad here, and the next question is, what's the scariest part of being a parent? And just sort of thinking about what I just said now, I think having to do that introspection and look at yourself and work out how to be a better person is probably one of the most confronting and
Yeah.
scariest parts of being a parent, hey?
For me, like I think it was the scariest part about me being a parent is not being able to be present.
That was your fear?
That is my fear. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it still is now. Like special things, or times that you know little things, like starting school, or because of other things like commitments for work and things like that. But I think that everyone should do whatever we can to be there, because being present is worth more than any dollar.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Presents are worth more than presents.
Yeah, exactly, 100%.
Are there times where you have questioned your ability to be a good dad?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I think it's a very regular thing. I come out and ask you, like, am I like, do you think I'm a good dad? Like, mainly, I think everyone's is always trying to find their feet, or their parental feet, I suppose, if you want to put it like that. Is that I don't think anyone ever knows if it's being a good parent. I think
I think if you're not asking yourself that question.
yeah, it's like evolving adaptability, and being able to provide, like I said back to the first question, provide support for your children.
And so my next question is, what areas do you struggle with? I would say that is what I struggle with the most in being a parent myself, is always questioning whether you're doing the right thing by them and also by yourself as a parent.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a big one. That's knowing if you're doing the right thing. Like there's no handbook, there's no rules, there's nothing to give you a guide on being a parent. The only thing we have to go off is our children, and our environment that we provide.
You're literally learning on your feet.
Yeah, you are. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the best job in the world.
Yeah. And there's plenty of people that give you advice and tell you that you're doing it right or doing it wrong, but I still think that you have to practice some discernment and work that out for yourself, whether you are doing it right and doing it wrong, and standing by the decisions that you make.
Yeah, yeah. That's hard. That's hard because some decisions aren't easy to make, and
No.
some are. But decisions that are hard to make, it should be always to benefit your children.
Yeah, you do them with the best
Yeah.
intentions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They
And they might not
should
work
always
out
be
the
the
best.
forefront. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It might not work out the best.
like I said, it's learn on your feet, and some decisions you make might not be, might not turn out to be good. But I suppose it's as long as you're putting them at the forefront of your decisions, then it doesn't matter what you go through as a parent, but as long as them as a child are
And
good
sometimes you make
decisions.
decisions and you don't actually see the
The fruit. the fruit from the tree that's been planted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you read my mind then?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't see the outcome of it until years later, and
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that's where I am with one of my kids at the moment, and that's really hard. Just standing by the decision that I've made, knowing, without any outcome as such just yet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That's and with the circumstances that's happening with you, it is a hard decision, and it was a hard decision for you. And I think as your partner, like, and every partner that's with someone who's making hard decisions, it's important again to be supportive.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. When did you first feel the weight of being a parent? I've thought about this question so much, and it's a really hard
It is,
question.
yeah. I think every day, like, if you do feel the weight of being a parent,
Yeah, every day,
like we
absolutely.
just talked about, decisions you make, and the they're always going to have an outcome on your children, or your environment, or the weight of being a father, or a parent. I think it's an everyday thing. It's a literally an everyday, like, it's not a burden, but it's a weight. And I think as a dad, and as a father, and a partner, I think to have that weight is a good thing, because as men, we should be protect our shelter. We should be a
Provider,
support system, a
protector.
provider. And I think for us to know that we have, that's something that we have. I think it's a good thing for men. So I think the burden that we carry as men is healthy. It's when it starts to get unhealthy, like when you're adding different things from outside sources, and your environment of your home isn't right. Then I think it's that's a burden that you're creating.
Do you think men have that idea sometimes of what a provider and a protector is wrong? Like,
Yeah, I think men always think that if someone hurts my children, I'm going to hurt them back. I think that's all I think that a protector is.
yeah,
It's not. It's so much more than that. It's like I said, providing a safe space. It's being someone who can give them advice. It's being someone who shows them what the right things are, not just this is how it is, but putting that and them seeing that, because kids, they I've noticed a lot with my son is that when I do something, I notice that he'll pick it up and he can do it. I can tell him, all right, go and get me a spinner, and he'll go and he'll sort of walk around. He'll be like, yep, okay, go and sort of walk around. But if I was to go and show him what one was, then I know the next time
you know what it
he'll
is.
remember what it is. And I think it's a good thing to kids see and learn with their eyes,
Yeah,
because they're not
definitely.
like us as adults. So we learn, like, they learn obviously academically and through their brain, but they have to be able to see things. That's like when a kid is like learning how to use their hands, and their toys that are interactive with their hands. When they're learning to walk, they watch everyone walk.
Yeah, which goes back to what we were talking about before about being a parent, doing that introspection and making sure that you're being a good role model and
Yeah.
reflecting on the things that you
Yeah.
need to change so that you can be that role model.
Yeah.
Because your kids are watching you,
Yeah.
and
I know for a long time that I wasn't, me and we've talked about this, and we'll talk about it further on different podcasts, is that I wasn't a great role model, like, at all. And affected a lot of things, in my and my son's relationship, and also, just in me, my mental health as well. But that's something we'll cover a bit later on.
but am I right in thinking that you're being a positive role model because you've taken accountability for that,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you're showing
accountability.
them that you
Yeah,
can make change?
yeah, showing them, things aren't, it doesn't matter what's happening. You can always have a good outcome and have a good outlook. You know, outcome, it always depends on your outlook, because you can have a lot of shit going on, swearing, and still have a really good outlook on it, and they won't see anything that's even going on.
Yeah.
Like, it's when you start to be negative, and use aggression towards things, and they see all that, and they can pick up on your energy. And I think the kids think that it's them that's making you like that, but it's not.
We
And
spoke briefly about this in the car the other day. I was saying to you about how, like, not that I hid things from my children, but I didn't want to expose them to certain things because I thought that that was best for them. And what I had learned along the way is that not being transparent with them and not showing
Yeah.
them the struggles and
Yep.
the shit.
Life lesson.
Yeah, that they know it's going on.
Yep.
You're better off just
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
letting them see it so that they can see that you're struggling with it, or they can see where you've made changes,
Yeah.
or
They can understand from a young age that things are not all green pastures and rainbows. But also too, it's also good for you as a parent to not expose them to things that are going to be detrimental to their growth.
I know in my experience that I have overthought everything so much that I have forgotten what I've actually spoken to my children about and what I haven't spoken to them about.
Yep.
And then they're getting the stories mixed up because, they're missing some parts and they're making it up in their head. And so
They're trying to fill in the gaps.
I've learned not to think about it too much. And sometimes you might say things that aren't perfect, but at least it's out there.
Yeah. And they can deal with it as how they deal with it.
Yeah.
I think it's us, like I said, it's us as dads and as mums to support them in in what follows.
Yeah, I wish that was something that I knew more about in my parenting journey.
Yeah, but like I said, there's no handbook,
No.
and hindsight would be a lovely thing if we had it. But, it's just how we keep moving forward, and I think the environment you provide and the support and the things that you do as a parent, should always be
I mean,
with the
even
kids at
if
your
there was a
forefront.
handbook, I probably wouldn't have read it. I'm not really known to read instructions before.
Yeah. Picture book.
Yeah.
Cartoons in the paper.
If I could just ask ChatGPT to do it for me, that would be
Yeah.
good. What advice would you give new dads or new parents?
What advice would I? No, if you're struggling as a dad, it's okay to talk to people. I think as dads, like we talked about this the other day, is that as dads, when we get together, we don't ever discuss our kids if we're having problems, or I know from I've got sisters that when we get together, they'll talk about, say, like, oh, we're having trouble with him, toilet training or her toilet training, and mums will bounce ideas for each other, or this is how we got there. Do it. Maybe try this or try that.
Yep.
Whereas dads, when we get together, we don't talk about things like that, and I think that's a very, very good starting point. Is that dads talk to other dads. Like, there's no shame in talking about your kids, and every dad is proud of their children. Mums are too, obviously. Dads are proud of their children, and if you're having problems and you need ideas, or it could be relationship problems, it could be with your children, it could be children and other children. Talk to other dads, and because I guarantee 1 out of 5 dads you talk to maybe have been through that, or make it okay that we're all about talking about our mental health, like as men. It's okay, it's not weak to speak, sort of thing. There's a lot of things that happen at home that we can talk with other dads about. I'll look at the example, like if we have a problem with our cars as men, let's use cars for an example. We'll go to, all of my mates are fitters, like every single one of them. We'll go to one of them, oh, like we do this has happened, and they'll subconsciously, have you checked this? Have you done that? Or, why can't we do that when we're having troubles with, not even troubles, just problems with our...
Do you think men are consciously thinking about things like toilet training and issues that go on at home with the kids, or do you think they're not talking about it because they're like, oh, mum will sort out that problem because that's her?
No, I don't think so at all. No.
Yeah.
No, I think men sometimes do feel a little bit like, not helpless, but like we can't provide that. Like, it's mum or the wife or the partner, they can do that better than us. Where it's, if we really put as much time to our kids as what mum does, then
But I think that goes under that like protector provider role that you spoke about earlier. Like you might not be able to help with the toilet training thing,
but you always
straight
can help.
up, but you provide the emotional support when
Yeah.
I come crying to
But
you, going,
you can
oh,
help
they've shit
because
on.
it's not up to mum to. It's not up to mum to do that. So there's no point if you go and go, like, if you can't get it, then why can't dad go and try? Or not even about talk training. Like, it's just like anything. Eating, or kids have to learn everything. I think that dads we don't have to, if you're a provider and a protector, you don't have to divide yourself. Like, this is my area only.
Yeah.
This is mum's area. I think it's a collaboration. And like dad's, obviously, if mum is struggling, like dad should be in there doing it. Or, we're capable. We're exactly the same. And I think, dads don't talk about it because, look, yeah, part of what you said is right. But I think it's just a man is like, he's too proud to admit that he's struggling with things. And I think that men should talk to other men about that. Not just their mental health, talk about things else, like other things.
You think men get competitive with their
No.
kids like
No.
women
Not
tend
not
to
like
do?
sport. If the men with sport and their kids, yeah. But nah, definitely not.
Like,
See,
I know
will
women get competitive. Like,
Yeah.
kids will be like, "Oh, my kid's up to level 3 in reading books," and the next
yeah,
one,
I feel
I'm
like
a
women
5.
also will talk to each other about
Problems.
problems,
Yeah.
and they'll bounce ideas for each other.
Yeah. What? I don't like this question. I don't want to answer this one. What would your children think about you as a parent?
So one child, and I'll probably say this here now, I haven't seen for 7 years, which is something I'll go into in a later podcast with a friend of mine. She's going to come on and talk about the
The
legal system, the child support system, and
family law.
from different aspects. So I haven't seen my child for 7 years, so I don't know what he would think about me if he even know I exist. And that's pretty hard. It's not a day that I don't think about him. Eli, yeah, I would say, he's a kid. He's only a little kid, so it wouldn't be very many words coming out, but just little things, like what he likes to
He
say.
loves you.
Hey,
He loves you.
Deadly might be one. Yeah, but what he would think about me and what he would tell people who I am, I just think he would say that, that's my dad. I think as dads, that's all we can really want, is to, for that, for my personal, and I can't speak for every man, is that we just want our kids to say, be proud of us as their dad.
Yeah.
That's an easy question.
For you.
Yeah, I don't have teenage girls.
Yeah. I mean, I have 2 girls that are chalk and cheese, and 2 very different personality types and how they learn and see the world.
Yep.
And, I've got one daughter that would, probably say that I'm the, most selfless, kind and compassionate person that you've ever met. And then I've got one who would probably tell you that I'm downright selfish and
that's maturity
neglectful.
levels of them too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
I
they're
don't.
going through different stages.
They're entitled to their opinions, and like what we were talking about before. In time to come, as they go through their own experiences in life, they'll understand the decisions that I made and why I've made the decisions that I have. And even then, that might not change their mind. And that's probably another hard part about parenting, is that we have this idea in our head that if we parent them a certain way, you're going to get a definite outcome, and it's not the case. Sometimes they go off on their own path, and you have to accept them as their own person.
Yeah, definitely. Like, we can only guide them through their journey. They're going to make their mistakes. They're going to have times where you're not so proud of them, but it's gonna we can only provide them with the tools that they need for their journey, I suppose, if that's the way to look at it.
Yeah. And so my next question is, how do you want your kids to be as parents themselves?
I'll refer back, again, I want them to be present, and just back to the first question. I want them to be present, be there. Like it's a big thing. Kids will always remember if you were there or not. They're not going to remember, oh, my dad or my mum didn't have a lot of money, or they always remember the time that you have with them. It could be anything. Kids find, look at me and Eli, like, we'll go out for lunch and sit there and play with stubby coolers, and just little things like that. Kids don't need big expensive things, and it's just they live for memories and times that you have with them without anything else.
Yeah, 100%. Would you be happy if they turned out like you?
Now? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, right now, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I would only ever hope that they turn out better than me. That's all I can hope. No one's perfect, but you can strive to be.
Yeah, and I think that's another good, another part of the definition of a good parent is that you want them to do better than you. You should be the only person in the world that wants them to do better than you.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but yeah, I would say that with my kids, if they turned out like me,
Yep.
I wouldn't be upset.
Yep.
You know, I've had a pretty good life. I haven't done anything too disastrous, I don't think. But, you know, the hardships that I've been through in my life, if that's the only hardships that they got to endure, then I would be happy with that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's up to us as, parents, that hardships we've been through, to be able to, instill, whatever the word is, that in our kids that, life isn't going to be perfect. And, there's tough times never last. You can get through it. The thing that's going to get you through it is, your heart. And you just got to keep one day at a time, one day at a time, one day at a time. It does, it gets easier. Yeah.
Yeah. Are there times that you have thought to yourself, fuck, I sound like my mum, or fuck, I sound like my dad, or, is there moments?
I don't think so much
Please.
like my parents, but I recall a lot sounding like people that I work with. Like, one example is when I was a bit younger, I would have older fellas at work would say to me, "You wait, young fella, wait till you have kids that'll change your life." And I was like, I walk off like, fuck off, like, there's no way, mate. I said, I'm wild, lad. I'm not having kids. Bang, the day I had kids, they were dead right.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I'm sort of the older one, saying to young fellas like, people I work with even now, maybe you shouldn't do that, or maybe you should do this. You sound like, the old wise man again. It's funny how as you get older, you become that person.
I remember being a teenager and my parents saying to me, it's not that we don't trust you, we don't trust other people. And at that point, it didn't make any sense to me, and it used to infuriate me. And it would be like a fight word. I would just instantly see red when they would say it. And now that I'm a parent, I understand what they were saying, but I try to deliver that message to my kids in a different manner that I think would have made more sense to me back then. I don't know if it makes sense to them, but yeah. Yeah, that's probably the only time that, I think I sound like my parents.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I don't have any more questions.
That's good.
Was there anything else you wanted to touch on?
Yeah, I think the only thing I just want to leave everyone with is that, dads, like, talk to other dads, talk to your partners. If you're struggling as dads, talk to someone. There's nothing wrong with talking to other dads about, what works for them and, what they've done. And another man always be more than happy to help you out. It's a very big thing. We're all about talking about our mental health. There's a lot of things that contribute to mental health, and I think the struggles of being a dad is one of them. So just talk to everyone. You don't have to give, personal information or things that aren't, you wouldn't want other people to know. But, if you have a good friend or, someone who's close to you, then, you can talk to them about pretty much anything. That's what I'll leave everyone with.
Yeah, I think that's a really good message. I really liked today's podcast.
We've done it.
That was really good.
It's good.
Okay.
Yes. Someone's ringing me, eh?
Oh, I heard your phone go off.